It's that time of year, everybody. It's the time of year of Game Awards. And I think Xbox is actually going to have a pretty good showing this year at the Game Awards and at Game Awards. Now, this isn't the Game Awards, the big one for the year put on by Jeff Keighley, but this is, I think, a good one to go over. This is the GamesRadar.com Golden Joystick Awards, because I think it's going to give us some insight as to what games we can expect to be Game of the Year, what games maybe are missing from Xbox, what games are there for Xbox, and what it's like going forward. We also do have new Xbox games on Game Pass that were confirmed and announced today over at Xbox Wire. And then last but not least, we've got an AI chatbot that Xbox is experimenting with. Let's discuss that and what that means for the future. Do we like AI-powered support? Would we prefer human assistance, et cetera, et cetera? I think it's a good thing overall, but let's go over that in details. Before we do, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this every single day, Monday through Friday. If you like the podcast format, make sure you head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us there. Leave us a 5-star review. Also, if you like what we're doing, please consider becoming a member. You can hit that join button right here below on YouTube. It supports us financially. Very much appreciated. Okay, let's jump into it. This is the Golden Stick Awards in 2024. Now players can go vote for this right now. This is over at GamesRadar.com. This is for the ultimate Game of the Year. And let me just state up front, first of all, I think a lot of the categories in all Game Awards are super foolish. And I think that the way that I don't think Game of the Year should be voted on separately beforehand. I think what should happen is the winners of each of the game categories, which, by the way, a lot of those game categories are flawed. Think about past years. In fact, we'll go over them in a minute. But I think the winner of each category should be then put into Game of the Year nomination, because what happens is you get these weird head-to-heads in certain categories that then don't go head-to-head in Game of the Year, even though both are Game of the Year, and then it creates this dichotomy that just doesn't make any sense. So actually, this is Wikipedia. This is the Game Awards from last year, and let me give you an example here of some of the... So we've got Game of the Year was Baldur's Gate, okay? Best Narrative, it went up against Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 won that for Best Narrative. Alan Wake 2 is also in Game of the Year. Best Game Direction is another category. Baldur's Gate 3 was in that. Alan Wake 2 won that category. Baldur's Gate 2 won Game of the Year. Best Art Direction, Alan Wake 2 won. Baldur's Gate is not in that category. So you can see 3 categories we've gone through so far in which Alan Wake has won, going head-to-head against Baldur's Gate, and yet Baldur's Gate wins Game of the Year. And it just, and there's a lot of instances like that. I think it sets up this dichotomy. I think it actually weakens the Game of the Year, because it's just like, well, it doesn't make sense what it wins. It's the best of these games in these categories, but then it doesn't line up. So for instance, best role-playing game, Baldur's Gate 3 versus Final Fantasy. Then there was another game that Final Fantasy was in. I believe that Final Fantasy wins. That's just it. It just doesn't make sense. I don't think the categories make sense. I think the better way to do it is take the winner of each category and then put them in this category. Now, you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute. It doesn't matter that those games are duplicated. Yes, but Game of the Year is announced beforehand. And so you get this weird dichotomy. What I'm saying is Game of the Year shouldn't exist until after each of these awards are announced, and then that can help determine what is Game of the Year in my mind. And in my mind, if a game like Alan Wake 2, there was a case between Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate, and I think Baldur's Gate rightfully won Game of the Year. However, you set up this weird dichotomy because Alan Wake 2 won all these other awards, but it didn't win Game of the Year. So like what? And it won all these other awards going head-to-head versus Baldur's Gate, yet Baldur's Gate won Game of the Year. So I think just the format needs to change personally. But with that, let's take a look at what Golden Joystick Awards this year, what they list as Game of the Year, Ultimate Game of the Year. First up, we've got Final Fantasy Rebirth. Now, I'm hearing that, yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm waiting for this to come to Xbox, by the way. I'm holding out. I've got a PlayStation 5. Everybody tells me I would love it. Everybody thinks this is one of the best Final Fantasies ever, the things that they've done there. But I'm holding off for Xbox. It's only a matter of time now for Square Enix, because I want that gamer score, everyone. I want that gamer score. So come on, Square Enix, bring us Final Fantasy Rebirth. But yeah, definitely deserves to be there. Satisfactory is there as well. Tekken 8 is there. Black Myth Wukong, well done. Again, another PlayStation here. PlayStation crushing it this year as they've done in years past. Black Myth Wukong, I've not played it. I've watched a lot of gameplay of it. I hear that it starts out really well and then it tailors off. Final Fantasy, I think, is a little bit stronger there. And then a third one here for PlayStation, Helldivers 2. I think absolutely Helldivers deserves to be there. I think Black Myth Wukong deserves to be there as well. But just for what Helldivers did for the space, just the phenom it was for the year, it absolutely deserves to be there. I think this is the game that wins it all, though. Metaphor ReFantazio. Now, this is available everywhere. This is also available on Xbox. This is the game, I think, to beat for Game of the Year. Everyone I know, everything I watch, everything I see on it puts this game over the top, says it's an absolute masterpiece. It's by Atlas and Sega. These guys have a huge pedigree. They're the Persona 5 guys and the Persona 3 guys and the Persona series guys. And just all came together here. Fantastic. I've watched a lot of gameplay of this. I'm excited. This is like a 90 to 100 hour game, so I'm waiting on this. This is like a Christmas break game for me, but I think this is going to be the winner personally. But again, so far, I think all of these picks are pretty good. Balatro, I do own Balatro. Yes, really, really good. The problem with the Balatro is it's excellent, but it's not. It's a different type of game, and it's a game that will be very hard to win Game of the Year. Same with Animal Well. Animal Well looks super cool. Silent Hill 2, well done again. Up there. Dragon Age the Veilguard is up there. I think the verdict is out on that at the moment. I think that I think what's happened in that, from what I could gather, because I know people who are personally going through it right now, and I've been talking to them about it, and they're loving it. They're loving the game right now, but they're under 10 hours. And I think the longer you play the game, I don't think the game finishes as well as it starts, from what I can gather. And so I think that's maybe the differences in the reviews that we're seeing. But Dragon Age, don't have a problem with that being up there for Game of the Year as well. And then last but not least, and this is the only Xbox, actually not last but not least, we've got Astrobot as well. Just showing you, Sony absolutely clearing house here with Game of the Year, at least according to Games Radar. But Black Ops 6 up there, and absolutely, the best Call of Duty in years. Black Ops 6 deserves to be there. I don't think it's going to beat Metaphor ReFantazio at all. I think that's the game to beat. I think it's far and away the game to beat. So, but Xbox did get one up there, and you're thinking, oh, boy, Call of Duty is not Xbox. Yes, it is. It is now, everybody. So that's there. But you can see once again, let me say this, because a lot of people will say, wait a minute, you're so high on Xbox, but look at PlayStation again dominating things like Game of the Year. Yes, but all these games developed by PlayStation, these were decisions made years ago on these games. These are things set up years ago. And that's my point on Xbox, is we're in that setup phase for Xbox. And the fact that we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6 through bodes well for us in the future. And then all of the series coming down the pike here are just doing it. Now, keep in mind, Final Fantasy it's not PlayStation. It's third-party games that PlayStation has the exclusivity to. Same with Black Myth Wukong. So minus Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is published by PlayStation. So Helldivers 2 and Astrobot is what they have. But regardless, there you go. That's where we're at with Game of the Year. What would your guys' pick be at this point? And is there anything missing from Xbox? Now, personally, I think one of the most underrated games of this generation is Hellblade 2. I think Hellblade 2 is, I call it a masterpiece. I would put it on my short list for Game of the Year. I think it's an experience, and I think it deserves to be there, but that's just me. That's the only one that I would say from Xbox is even in the same breath as some of these other games. But Call of Duty 6 absolutely deserves to be there for sure. I think games have to be released as of now, because we do have Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator, I think, is probably going to be a game that would deserve to be there, although it's niche gaming. You don't really see those with race car games and stuff like that in these Game of the Years traditionally. So the other one is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones releasing too late, so that'll be included on next year's Game of the Year awards as well. But there you go. That's what it's like. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think. I think Metaphor ReFantazio is the game to beat. Just by what I've watched of it, just by what I hear about it, just by what friends I have that have played it tell me, and my experience, seeing how others play it, it's the game to beat. It's, by all accounts, it's a masterpiece. Let's go over to Xbox Wire here. These are games coming to Game Pass for November. We've got Metal Slug Tactics, Goat Simulator Remastered, Flight Simulator 2024. We've got Go Mecha Ball. We've got The Reminder. I can't read. Turnip Boy and Harold Halibut. Again, another strong push for Game Pass. The value is there, no doubt. I am most excited this month on Game Pass for Flight Simulator. I mean, granted, Stalker 2 is also going to be there, so I guess I'm most excited for Stalker 2, but these are the other ones that were announced, or the new titles that were announced, obviously. But Flight Simulator 2024 is my next one, and they've just updated the world in a way that I think is going to be very exciting to explore. It's the most detailed world that they've had to date, with more ways to fly and experience. They've even got like RPG elements to Flight Simulator now, where you can take over different professions and experience it that way. So I think Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is just going to crush it. I mean, it's in the league of its own in this genre. It dominates the genre. It's what you play if you're into flight simulator games. So it's what I'm most looking forward. I will definitely be downloading this extremely huge game. The last one was extremely huge. I'm sure this is going to be extremely huge as well. And then jump into it and play it and just enjoy the world and enjoy flying. So very excited for that. Let me know what games you're most looking forward to. Again, Stalker 2 is one that I'm very much looking forward to. But Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Yeah, here we come. And with that, let's go to this. Let's finish off with this article at The Verge, where Xbox is testing new AI-powered chatbot that Xbox insiders can test out. And you can see here's an image of it here. Let me see if I can blow up that image where in the Xbox support, you're typing in your problem, and then an AI chatbot is actually responding to you. Now, that's not super different than how a lot of big corporate websites work. They ask you a few questions and give you some very basic answers before actually having you chat with or take a phone call or chat with a real human. This looks to be the same. I think it's just going to be more advanced. Where AI is at today, I mean, you can have whole conversations. For those of you that have never really played with AI, ChatGPT obviously is the big one to utilize, but also one that I would check out that I use increasingly on a daily basis is Perplexity. Perplexity destroys Google. Like Google, I think is on its way out, actually, and it just can't compete with Perplexity. Perplexity finds me exactly what I want, cites the sources, brings me the websites that I'm looking for. Unlike Google just doesn't get stuff right anymore. So I think you combined all these things, and I think there's a reason they're still testing these chat AI bots, but I think long term, this is going to be the future because they're getting to a state where they can answer almost any question for you, and they'll be able to help walk you through stuff. And I think it'll just be more efficient for them, more efficient for you, a better experience for you overall. And then really only the outlier cases will go to human support. Thus, I think being able to speed up processing times and speed up how they help you, how quickly they help you, and how many people they help. So I think that's good. Now, I did write down a few questions here that I think we can end on here and go over. Do you think Xbox single Game of the Year nomination reflects on its exclusives, or does it signal a shift in gaming priorities? I think, like I said before, I think what it shows us is that Game of the Years are years in the making. You just don't wake up one day and say, hey, we're going to make a Game of the Year this year. No, that's like a decision that's made 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And I think Xbox last year and this year, they're in that position that in 3 or 4 or 5 years, they're going to dominate on the Game of the Year scenes. I think you're going to see multiple games, multiple titles. I mean, just look at the library of games and Xbox exclusives and Game Pass games that are coming from Xbox Studios just over the next couple months. And then into next year. And I think you're going to have just multiple titles up for Game of the Year from Xbox and Xbox-owned studios. So I don't know that this year really signals anything. I think what it does signal as you go through it is we got a lot of good games to play. I mean, there's a lot of good games to play on that list. So as it was last year, too. Last year was a big one. I mean, Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 duking it out. We're spoiled, everybody. We are spoiled. Last question I wrote down here is, how do you feel about AI-powered support? Would you prefer AI assistance or human interaction for complex gaming issues? AI, I use AI every single day in my job. I use multiple AI platforms every single day in my job. It speeds up what I can do. It increases the amount of work that I can do. And the quality with that amount of work that I can do. So it definitely improves that. And I have no problem. I think that AI-powered support is the future. I think it's efficient. I think it will be efficient. I think for 99% of all issues that you deal with on a support level, AI will be able to handle those quickly, effectively, and without any need for human interaction. I think the human interaction comes for the outliers, the things, the one-offs that, well, shit, we've never seen this before. Let's problem solve this. That'll be handled by human interaction. And then once it is solved, once that outlier is solved and figured out, boom, AI is able to handle that the next time because it knows, hey, we've seen this before. Now we can help out. I think it's a good thing overall. Would love to know what you guys think, though. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are you not looking forward to that? By the way, if you're someone that has a negative view of AI, I would encourage you to go try it out and go use it. It is the future. And if you get used to using these tools, you're going to be set up for an advantage in your professional life, in your personal life in the future. So I would definitely encourage you to go check it out. It's not going away. It's not going away anytime soon. So learn it, live it, love it, and increase your skill set on that front. That does us for today, everybody. Again, thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out. I love hanging out with you guys every single day. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this every single day. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.